Yes, hello. Welcome to Gamble and Finn, the reality
Jesus.
check larger than life. Here from House Gamble, the Back 40, and we used to call it the Oasis or the Thunderdome or whatever, but apparently now it's the Infirmary. What's wrong with you, Fred?
Go.
Right 10 seconds before we
Right.
go on, you're like, oh, my arm, my
I have
arm.
a bad wing.
Oh, don't drop on me now.
It's my old pitching arm.
Oh, is it?
All those years
Yeah, you're-
of throwing the curveball, apparently he's coming back to haunt me.
Your pitching arm or your bitching arm?
Both, probably. Well, it's one's turned into the other. Yeah. You know what, though? I'll tell you what, the weather has been ungodly brutal.
Yeah, it was hard to
I
get
know-
him outside to come out
It
here
was.
to even do this, as you
But
saw in the promo.
But actually, it doesn't feel that bad right
Yeah.
now.
It's-
I mean, well, and would you not agree? Sun, miserable. Shade, not too bad.
Shade hasn't been too bad, but getting out for that morning walk before it
Oh.
gets too bad is a good idea.
Man.
But the hot breeze, there's nothing worse
No,
than a
man.
hot breeze.
There's nothing worse than just that T-shirt that just
Yeah.
clings the
Stuck to you
entire
like
thing.
saran wrap.
I can't stand when you get home and it literally peels off
Well,
of you.
I confided in you before you noticed on your own before we came out
Yes.
here. These are the shorts that I walk the dog in. And I'm
Oh,
like,
not why they
yeah, I might ought to have washed them before I came
Maybe,
today because I'm like,
or not worn them.
I can smell my pants.
Oh,
so that's not
that's
good.
sick.
That's not
Sick.
good. That's right up there. That's probably one that maybe I'll end up putting that on my tombstone.
And I don't-
smell my pants.
And I don't want something. If one more person goes, what do you expect? This is July. Okay, I get that. I get that it's July. I get we're in summer. But can we just not have the oppressive
Well,
humidity?
we were talking
That's
about
the
this
thing for
earlier
me.
today. This weather that we're having now is typically when we were growing up was August weather.
Yeah,
so
no,
everything
you're
has
right.
really shifted. And whoever your friend was that mentioned this to you is right. We have two seasons now. We have
You're right.
winter and summer. We barely have a fall, which is my favorite, and I hate spring. So, but
Do you?
we just go straight to I hate spring.
See, I like spring.
That's
Spring
when everything
and fall.
gets up in my head and it just starts
Well, I
clearing
get
out.
that.
It's a nightmare.
Spring and fall to me are my favorite, and now they don't exist. But
Yeah.
if you think about it, we were unseasonably warm for some of the winter, and then all of a sudden, when it should have been starting to get warmer, it was getting. See, that's what irritates people. My sons are like, "You were bitching when it was cold." Yes, I was when it was in April.
Yeah.
I
Hang on.
wasn't ready for. See, that's a good sound though.
I like that.
And when it makes sense, we got lots to talk about.
Yeah,
though.
we
Lots
do.
going
Not
on.
just the weather, not like two old men sitting out
Right,
playing
no.
cribbage, feeding pigeons.
But-
We've talked about his aches and pains and the weather. You want to talk about gas prices?
No, I do
You
not.
want to talk about these crazy
No.
kids?
Well,
and
you
their
know
funny
what?
lingo?
Here's the thing with gas prices: when you don't drive, which I still don't, I don't know what the hell the price of gas is. It's all good.
I have. Well, it's pretty good coming out this way. It's like a $1.96 coming out here. It's still $2.05 up by me, which I never thought I'd ever say ever. And look, we're talking about gas prices. for God's sake.
Let's stop.
All
It's
right.
larger than live. It's Gamble and Finn. We do it each and every Monday. Don't forget Thursday. Now you got to pay attention though, because this Thursday it's our normal slot, the reality check, 9 to midnight on 700 WLW. But this is our last Thursday for a while because of Reds baseball.
Yeah, Reds baseball.
Which gets underway Friday, the opening night. Can't call it day because the game's at night. And then they play every Thursday evening. Normally, Thursday of the Major League season is either an off day, a travel day, or they play early as getaway day to get to the next city. But every game, with the exception, I believe, of Sunday of the 60-game schedule, they're all at night.
Well, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Reds and,
Yes.
like I said, the quote-unquote season and a lot of what is going to be happening on that opening night. And we'll talk a little bit about the Holy Grail on two different levels because we're going to revisit that next week. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about we promised not to mention the C word, and you know what that one is. It's not the other one. It's the one. But maybe some of the things that we want to get into that you were planning on doing, but you said, I'll get to it. And now, because of the C word, you haven't been able to do it, the thing that you're itching to do that you've been putting off. And I've got one absolutely.
And you're talking more about pleasure and vacation,
things
not
that you-
so much the home improvement project.
None of that. I mean, we've talked about all that, putting in the swimming pools and
But
all
you know
the
what I
different things.
found funny? With the C word, when it all started and no one really knew how long it would last, still don't. But you heard how many people go, yeah, you know what, I've been putting this off and now I'm going to get it done. Now I hear people say, you know what, I was going to get it done. Now I've been far enough along. Now I've lost interest in it.
Oh, really? So they gave up on those projects.
Some of them, yes. Some of them,
well,
yes.
I would tell you a lot of those things are moving forward, swimming pool installations and a lot
well,
of
but those are things that
like
you don't really have to do.
Right.
You just make the call and hire somebody to do it for you.
So we're gonna get into a little bit more of those sort of things. I have one in particular that I'm absolutely going to do, and there's a couple of things that it hinges upon, and one of those things has happened. The other one's happening in about 3 weeks. We've got a couple of bits of nonsense. There's one I'm going to run by you that happened yesterday. I was with Minnie Finn, and we were talking about her impending freshman year, and I will mention something to you that it won't surprise you, but it should still horrify you. It blew me away. I couldn't believe it. So
that could be one of many things for me.
That kind of nonsense. There is an I told you so moment coming up that we'll probably get a little bit more into on Thursday if we have the time, which with all the guests we have Thursday on LW, we may not. So we got a bunch of stuff to get to, include, like you said. And then I do want to kind of revisit the idea that we had about if there was a 60-year period of history. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I challenged you if there was a 60-year period of history that you could live in.
It wouldn't be right now.
Really?
No.
Okay, well, we'll get into that if we have time. Of course, we have Show and Tell, which is our opportunity to show you something that we have that we think is cool, tell you a little bit about it. We still want you to be involved in that as well. If you have a picture of something you have that you think is cool, that has a cool backstory, we want you to email that to us, Gamble, A-N-D-Fin, F-I-N, at gmail.com, and that way you can be part of Show and Tell in an upcoming week.
Well, we talked about this too. It's more about your story more than anything else.
Doesn't have to be autographed.
Well, we've had a lot of exposure to people to get them to autograph stuff. I mean, it's just my world in sports, you in music, and then me later in music. So it's more the backstory is what makes that stuff really cool.
Well, and I think storytelling is really kind of what we had always hoped this show would be about. And when Vogel was out here with the bourbon, there were some great stories. I mean, I'm still laughing about some of the stuff you guys were talking about. But let's go back to where we began with the Reds and the Reds season. And I call it a season because 60 games, let's say they win it all. Will there be an asterisk by that forever? Will people go, yeah, but they won that one or whatever?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be an asterisk by this season just because you have rule changes. I mean, the designated hitter is in the National League as well as the American League. You're going to have fluctuating rosters, and who knows what the C word is going to do to baseball teams. I mean, you've already had some players opt out, so you've got that's a little caveat. You're also going to have probably some people test positive. It's been relatively, I think, unscathed to this point. But I got to tell you, I've actually watched some exhibition games. Things have been slow. Dude, I'm almost through the catalog of Law and Order. So a man's got to move on. No, but I'll tell you, I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what it looks like where there are no fans. Because this is made for TV baseball. I mean, it's and how about this? So last night it was the White Sox at the Cubs. John Sciambi was the play-by-play guy. Yeah. He was in New York.
Boog.
Boog was in New York. Rick Sutcliffe was in San Diego. Chipper Jones was in Atlanta. So basically, and then they had the game emanating from Chicago. So you essentially had from the camera to your three announcers 4 different places. Now, here's what was weird. If I hadn't been told that, hadn't known that, I'm not sure it bothered me, but what was strange was, and they're doing more of this, they're going to have more like, they're going down to basically a kind of a Zoom call, green room, if you will. It's like when the starting pitcher came out.
Right.
He went down there, they interviewed him, they interviewed the manager in game, which that's kind of cool.
Did that matter to you that it wasn't
it didn't matter.
Person to person?
During the game like that, no. And I think a lot of those during the game interviews are nonsensical anyway because they really don't say much. But here's what I would tell you. That's where I noticed the fact that they were not in the booth.
Right.
Because they rotated their questions to the manager, but it still seemed a little bit awkward, like they had to wait till he was finished, and then they were waiting to see who was going to.
Split-second delay and everything. Well, that makes it hard to get a flow, which is why
it does.
You and I decided we would wait until we could distance properly. We knew everything we needed
so
we could do this together, because I did this a little bit with
you did.
Jimmy
That's right.
King
Yeah.
Over with him being in one place
more
and me
difficult.
being the other. It sucked. I mean, we did what we could do.
It's not as much fun.
But it wasn't as much fun. There was a chance you were talking over top of each other, which we do anyway, but it then cancels out the audio, which is no good. Real quickly, I just want to clear something up for Jim Myers. He says, is that Rob Fetters from the Raisins on your shirt? It is not. That's my boy Bob Ross.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of many in my Bob Ross collection. But thank you for the question. I'm sure Fetters will be thrilled to know because he does look a little bit like a mad scientist these days.
Yeah.
With the white dew. So there's that. Keith Decker says he's watching. Sadowski's on here. So we got a handful of the regulars. Jen Stouter, Natty Light. Cheers to you. But back to the point of the Reds. So it doesn't have to be what it was. But do you think that they'll, like we talked about, consolidation and certain things changing and just staying that way? Do you see any of that staying the way it is, even if we get back to quote-unquote normal?
I think there are some people who worry that I don't like the designated hitter, but that's because we're in a National League city. I can live with it. I think if you're a Reds fan this year, you like the fact that they're employing it because they've got a good lineup. So now get a load of this. So they have 2 exhibition games, Tuesday and Wednesday night here from Great American Ballpark against Detroit, radio only. So what I've been told, I talked to Lance, what I've been told is that Tommy Thrall, who takes over from Marty Brennaman, he will literally broadcast from the Reds on radio booth. Yiddy Armbruster's in there, the producer. And I believe Brantley, for social distancing, is going to be like in the next booth over with the window open between them. So they're going to do radio only Tuesday, Wednesday, and then starting Friday night, Reds on radio, Fox Sports Ohio will have the game on TV. But I know Chris Welsh, they had, I believe, Fox on the website, or maybe it was on the Reds website. He did the 3 scrimmages over the weekend by himself.
Oh my gosh!
He did it.
I think that would be brutal.
It would be, but I'm just telling you. So here's what it's gone to. It's made for TV only.
Yeah.
I mean, the media are going to have to hang on the concourse level. It's going to be very, very different. But I love baseball. If you're a baseball fan, the baseball game, you still got 9 players. It's still going to be the same game as we know it. I have no issue with it.
I don't know. I have to be honest with you. I have fallen out of love with professional sports just in general, the NFL still being now at the top of my list. And, in soccer, I think Premier League soccer, I already know what you think about that.
Well, I
enjoy watching that.
I just don't like soccer.
I'm less and less interested now, it seems like, in baseball. Watching this just for the purity of the game and watching just the game, I don't know if that's something I'm going to be able to watch.
Well, here's what's going to be interesting. You have 2 schools of thought. You have people like me who are dying to watch some live professional sports, right? So you've got 2 games, ESPN, the start of baseball Thursday night, Yankees against defending champ Nationals, and then Johnny Cueto and the Giants, former Red, against the Dodgers, doubleheader, 14 games on Friday. Okay, I'm in that category. That excites me. Here's what I wonder. You know how you get that out of sight, out of mind? I mean, baseball was supposed to start in late March. Mm-hmm. It's now starting late July. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. And here's what the question to me will be. A lot of people like to go down to a Reds game. Maybe they're not staunch fans. They're not diehard fans. For the experience, for the ballpark, to hang out with friends, to go out before and after the game. Those are the ones I wonder, do you lose them? Will they get, Friday night you'll find me out here, TV out here. I'll be watching the game out back. Well, I mean, but again, do the people who otherwise wouldn't, but they love to go, what will their level of interest be?
And will they, flood the banks? I mean, that's one of the reasons we're going to talk to Jimmy Mooring on Thursday on LW about the Holy Grail banks.
Correct.
Because there is no big block party.
There is no block party, right? There
stuff.
Can't be. And the Holy Grail, what you see right now, and it'll be, I've heard a number of people tell me it's still our opening day.
Right.
We're going down there. But, I talked to Jimmy yesterday to set up our interview for Thursday, and he said, our restaurant is good.
Hold on. They just messed something up.
You can put your number in, and they got it so you can go sit your car or go wherever, but you can't. Again, you're not going to be able to go.
There's nothing coming out of here.
Like you once could. When you go down there, you used to go down. That's what it was about. Flood. Now think about this. You can't be in the ballpark, even though I said where do I buy my ticket? Yeah. But you can still be right next door. That may be the next place.
What about standing on the bridge watching?
Well, I can tell you, when I was having no life the other day watching the exhibition Cleveland and Pittsburgh, they were out on the Clemente Bridge. There were a couple other spots where they sent their videographer to capture people. Yeah. So people just want to be a part of it, no matter how they do it or what that means.
Now, out of the 60 games, will it be 30 home, 30 away, or will some get more home, some get more?
No, it's supposed to be equal.
Evenly
So they're
split.
doing they're basically playing. And for the Reds, here's the good news for me. You know, my sorry ass team's like no West Coast.
That's fine by
So
me.
only set the latest game will be Central Time Zone, will be like St. Louis.
Well, I would tell you though, like you said, and the reason we brought it up in the first place, every Thursday night in August, they will be on WLW, so we will not. So what we're working on is trying to double up on these shows during the course of the week.
Correct.
So that would be bringing in some special guests, doing a number of other things as well. So, all right, so let's get back to, before we started with the Reds, let's get to
Never a good sign.
the C.
Never a good sign.
If
Cords being plugged and unplugged.
If you could see what we see right now,
Right.
you would just be thinking, I'm glad I'm in my head and not in that head right there.
Well, let me just make one quick
Okay.
statement. We have changed internet providers to make this a better circumstance here at the back 40.
Yeah.
I'm convinced they all suck. They'll come out and they sell you this bill of goods and tell you this thing about how, oh yeah, well they've only got this and we've got that. They all suck.
Well, you can add them to your list that we started last week.
yeah.
We've got our list, and in
No,
case you
I'll
missed
update
that,
that.
in case you missed that, on last Thursday, one business, and this was the list of things, people and businesses, or well, basically nouns, places, people, places, or that when you're done, when we're done,
Thumbs up.
Right, yes. All right, so
It was that damn cord.
when you get, it's always the cord.
So blame the
Fred,
cord.
it's always the cord.
Yeah, I used to love this. I mean, remember back in the old radio days when something wouldn't work, they'd take it out and they go.
Yeah.
I'm like, if that's fixing our problem, maybe our cheap ass station ought to go buy some new equipment.
Well, how did you fix it? Another blow job?
Oh my God.
Yeah, we got her fixed.
I'll tell you, I did a Bengals show once. It was called Breakfast with the Bengals. I'll
Oh,
never
God.
no. It was at Perkins restaurants
Oh, my
all
God.
around. And you know you're in trouble when two things are happening. Your on-site engineer / producer isn't there when the show begins. And when he gets there, he's dangling the cords out of the ceiling tile.
Yeah. The drop ceiling.
We had not been on for 10 minutes. And some dude who'd been in the Perkins overnight, it was 24 hours, came right in front of our table. You could obviously hear this and said, "Are you ready for some insert word football?"
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Outstanding.
And it's time for, and I almost got my ass beat too when I was in a West Side Perkins when somebody had on a tennis, like I was Tennessee jersey. I think it was Peyton Manning, in fact. And I made a hillbilly reference.
Yeah.
And they weren't too happy with me.
Oh, no.
I knew that was
That's
stunning.
too bad. And you almost got pounded.
I did.
Oh, man. Now,
All right, my bad. So back to what your
the
original thought
list.
was.
So
Yes.
these are basically nouns, people, places, and things that we have come to the point where if we can't stand it anymore, we're just going to add it to the list, and they're done. We're just done.
Well,
we're
my
not no
suggestion-
second chance, no third chance, no nothing. But the thing that I challenged you to
No,
on Thursday,
which is a good
is
challenge.
you don't just drop somebody from the places that you go or whatever. You tell them why. Because if you don't tell them why, you are not conspicuous in your absence. You have to. Because if I was the manager, I'd want to know.
Well,
And if it's a person, tell that person. You don't need them. I don't have any problem at all anymore telling somebody, I don't need you around me anymore. You piss me off. I don't like you. I've got a neighbor right now who irritates the shit out of me. And every time he goes by, I drop my head and pretend I'm talking to the dog.
You're correct.
Or my feet.
But you're
or
right.
whatever. And I don't have any need for him. And if he says, ask me what's up, I'm going to tell him. But I'm not going to initiate it, but I will tell him if he asks me.
But you're even right with an actual business, because if they cannot do what they're supposed to do, you're correct. And I'll take that to heart. Just crossing them off my list isn't enough.
All right.
They need to know what they've done.
So now when you run out of internet providers, will you just give up on the internet? Because I know we're both
we're
anxious
going to
do
get a
that one day.
megaphone and just yell.
We're just
Well,
gonna,
but
we'll
you
get
know
the
what?
Blues Brothers
But
car.
here's
We'll
the
just
problem.
drive around and do
But
the
let me
show
ask
like
you
that.
this, though. Here's the problem. The problem in a lot of these business categories are, I think they collaborate.
Yeah.
And they get together and they go, well, look, man, we're all going to suck together. And then what choice do they? I really believe
We're
that.
only going to make it so good.
Yeah.
Don't you go stepping out, even though you
Right.
can, and make it this much better,
Correct.
because then you make us all look bad. And the only way to keep everybody right where we want them
Correct.
is to provide average at best.
Right.
And you're right. That's not acceptable anymore, and it shouldn't be. Okay, so let's go back
Okay.
and reset. Gamble and Finn, larger than live. House Gamble here at the Oasis. Actually, a pretty nice night out,
Yep.
all things considered. Now, I would tell you, we want you to like, we want you to share. That's going to be a big part of how we expand this, and we're able to get it out on the road and do the reality check road show and all of that stuff. We want to come out and do it on site. We're going to sell it. We're blatantly telling you, we're looking for sponsors. That it's going to cost some money for us to do this because we have to be able to pay to go out and do
Pay
it.
for the next internet provider.
We also would like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Gamble Capital N Fin YouTube. We got our own little designation now, our own little whatever it is. I don't what's it called. What's it called there, Eagle? Right? What do they call that? Our YouTube. What do we have a name?
You have a YouTube channel, just
channel. But what's the thing that we got? Our own little link. What's it called?
Customized URL.
Customized URL.
I was right. I left out the customized.
Is that what you said?
I said URL. Yeah. Only because I've heard someone talking about it.
Okay, well, very good. So anyway, go there, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and then you can then have a subscription to all of our issues. Okay, so now back to pre-COVID.
Yep.
You
said it.
C word from now on. Was there something that you were putting off? I absolutely that you were putting off. And the minute that subsides and you're able to do it, I'm making this happen.
Well, you and I had a conversation some time ago on 700 WLW about how, and I kind of brought this up because I'm guilty of this. There are so many things that I needed just a diversion, a change,
right?
And things that I needed to just do that I never did do. I always came up with an excuse, whether it's, you want to play golf? No, I can't. I got this. I'm going to give you
an example that a few years back, this would have been, I'm not sure how many. There was an attempt to start an FM sports talk station here in town. It was an abject failure. But they had me doing the morning show, and my producer at the time, a guy named Will Chambers, who went on to do some talk radio in Dallas, a great guy. They had a client trip to the practice round of the Masters.
Okay.
Always wanted to go to Augusta National Golf Course. Had never been there. Golf club, excuse me. So it was a fly down, fly back one day. And of course, me being the person I am, now I did it. I said, why don't you go, Will? You go. They asked me to go, but I still said, Will, you go. But it was work. I got this to do. I got to stop it.
Yeah, you got to quit doing that.
So once again, he did it. Had a great time. I didn't do it. Still haven't been to the Masters.
Yeah, you got to do that.
That's an example of what. But that's typically what I have done.
I did the same thing. I would say, you know what? Why don't you go? I'll go next time. And there's no.
Yeah.
Let me just. That's the one thing I would tell you about this. And I think, to be honest with you, I think our microphone now is this.
Oh, it is.
Here, which is why.
Do you want me to
So we
lean
probably
up like
should be
this?
in there, getting closer to that.
Okay.
Can you hear on there, Eagle? Is that good? Are you still hearing us? All right. So it's not here. We're just rolling as we go. It's no worry. But I would tell you, I did the same thing on a couple, and there was one that I didn't, and it was a golf trip. Oddly enough, it was to go to Scotland.
Oh, wow.
And I was called on a Sunday and said, "Hey, can you go on this client trip to Scotland? I can't go, but there is a spot you can go, and all the golf reservations."
Now you went, didn't
and
you?
I said, "Well, when is it?" He goes, "Tomorrow." I said, "We leave tomorrow." And he said, "Yeah." I said, "I have a passport." And at the time, I went to my then wife and I said, "Hey, can I go to Scotland tomorrow?" She goes, "Yep." She didn't care. So you can stay if you want. But so I did do that.
Should have stayed.
And I am thrilled to death because I think about that trip all the time.
Right.
I've got a squillion stories, but I'm telling you, there is a chance there is no next time.
Correct.
And I think that's the big difference between now and then. For me, oddly enough, mine was, and my better half, we've talked about, she's been to Ireland and she always wants to go back.
Okay.
So we talked about doing that for for her birthday a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and then we talked about it again and again. So we were getting ready to say we're going to do it by the end of this year. Then all this shit hit, and we're not even allowed to go anywhere.
Right.
They don't want us.
Right.
So now it's like the minute we can do this, we're going to do it. It's almost like the Maker's Mark Distillery tours. I've been wanting to do that forever, and right when we were getting ready to plan it around my birthday in March, all this shit happened again, like I said, and so everything was canceled. So we're just doing it.
Well, I've come to this, and this may be over aggressive for somebody who hasn't done it at all.
Yeah.
But there's no, and this could be something local, it could be something regional, whatever. You should do one thing a month. Because I was talking to a friend of mine recently about the C word, And I said, one of my biggest challenges is I don't have anything out in front that's got me jacked
that
up.
You're looking forward
There's
to.
nothing that's got me excited, and that's on me. That's not on anyone else.
Yeah,
that's on me.
Yeah.
And you know how it goes. If you're going to do something, you got to make it happen yourself. If you don't, nobody's going to make it happen for you.
We talked about that on LW months ago, like you said, and it was, all right, let's try to do one thing
and
a
you
week.
started. You did.
I did.
Started to.
And I have been. I've tried. We started going to places we hadn't eaten before.
Right,
We went kayaking. I got back involved.
You took the balloon ride.
took
That
the
might
hot
have
air-
been your last.
the hot air balloon ride.
Fred gave you a puncture when you landed, but other than that,
from Sodomy Ballooning, and it was great. The landing was awesome. I can't recommend it highly enough. And then when you bounce and then you hit and you do it again, it's like being in prison all over again. Especially when you're in a gondola with 5 other people.
which is probably too many for the record.
But we did it.
You did it.
And
right.
it was something different to do. Now, again, that was one of those things where I gave that to her as a birthday present. We didn't do it for a year and a half.
Right.
So we didn't schedule it because they kept canceling it.
I know.
So there is no guarantee of next time.
Oh, you're right.
So I would say if you're watching, you know this. I mean, the people
Yeah.
that watch us are smart enough to know. But
Right.
if you've been too busy or I'm too busy, I'll do it next time. I mean, I don't want to go all cats in the cradle on you.
But you can
really
I'll tell
do
you
have
what.
to think there may not be a next time.
It's always easier to find an excuse than to actually go, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it not?
It's harder to actually
mean,
motivate and
it
get off
is.
your ass to do it.
Well, because there are always reasons. Kids, job, whatever it may be, money. You got to just go.
But you know what's funny? The reasons to do it are so much better than
No
the reasons
question.
not to do it.
No question.
That it's crazy that we don't. And usually it's probably, I'm going to say it's going to be money. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't think you're going to be able to get a good international flight price when all this is done, and I don't give a shit. I'll wear a snorkel. I'll wear the fins. I'll wear a one-piece,
Well,
a
a buddy of
ladies'
mine-
bathing suit if I get
a
on
buddy
the
of
plane.
mine just went out, took a girlfriend. They went out to Napa Valley, San Francisco, Napa Valley. Did it come? The flight was like $49.
Yeah, right.
I mean, $49. And this is a guy, honestly, who would not have done anything. And he's gone through a divorce. And since that, he's like a new person. He just said, to hell with it. I'm doing it. And to his credit, he's done it.
Yeah, well,
And
good
he's
for
happy
him.
as a lark.
And I think that would have to be the case. And again, apologies for the audio issues. It just seems like there's some bugbear in the system, bugaboo, whatever you want to call it, in the system, that every week it sort of shows up in a different place. Ultimately, we will get all of this figured out. But in the meantime, we honestly could probably do this without any miking, and you should be able to hear us if you stand out on your
Right.
front porch.
Right.
So, okay, so let's say based on the time that we're in now, and there may not be a tomorrow, let's go back and just revisit quickly a 60-year period of time that you would pick up and live. You can pick two. You can pick two. 60-year period of time where you would live, that if you picked the 60 years you lived in, what would those two period of 60 years live? I know it's not the normal life expectancy, but what would you?
I think for me, it'd be 1940 to 2000,
40 to 2000. Really?
and maybe 50 to 2010.
Really? So you're not looking at any other era, like the Old West or any other time?
Yeah, but I don't know. I could
Why
have lived in
1940? You'd still want to be involved in World War II?
Well, not
Well,
really.
you'd be born then.
Yeah,
so
I'd
you'd
be
be
born.
a baby.
Right, so I'd be born. Not the best time to be born, obviously.
No.
But I mean, I just
You'd be working
think
in a
that,
factory by the time you were 18 months old.
Yeah, well, maybe it taught me some discipline. I don't know.
So 40 to 2000, and then what?
And then I don't know. I would like the Old West is appealing.
The Old West.
The Old West would be appealing.
There's something about the Old West and ancient Rome.
I don't know that it's 60. I just maybe it's the time for me. Just
Right.
like the
Well, there are certain things like the Old West was like, and I can only go by dramatizations like Deadwood.
Right,
I watch Deadwood and I just feel like I need a shower after every episode. It's so dirty and gross and nasty. And the same with Rome, ancient Rome.
Yeah.
Same kind of thing. Just gross.
yeah, but there's something.
But
about,
there's something about being
I
able,
know.
if you have an enemy, to go out and just shoot them or stab them and then be done with it.
Well, I
It
think
was
you
appealing.
you and I would both like that.
I think we'd both be sheriffs.
Right. Oh yeah,
Well.
I would. Well,
Yeah, in
Watching
some
that.
form or fashion.
Right,
But I
yes.
think there was a certain amount of that sort of justice that if you had a problem with a guy or he cheated you in cards or whatever, that was it. That life expectancy then was mid to late 30s.
here's the thing for me, and people take this the wrong way. I just don't like what technology has done to us
Right.
societally.
Yep.
That's my issue. I'm not abhorring technology. I mean, I get what technology allows us to do that we once couldn't. I completely understand that. But to me, the reliance on and the obsession with, that's what I'm bothered by.
Well, here's a perfect example. And Jen just said 1900 to 1960, which is crazy to me because
that is crazy. Well,
the Great Depression is in there, and you would be in your teens at that point. But again, an exciting time. You know, you got the backside of the Industrial Revolution and all that. And I would tell you, my other time would be the exact 60 years I'm in right now. Because think about what we've seen. I was born in the mid-'60s. I mean, the music, the fashion, the style, the difference of the people, the difference in the decades. And I think what you're referring to is the homogenization of everything. Eventually, every time you watch Star Trek or anything, they're all wearing the same outfit. That's where we're leading. It's all getting distilled down and homogenized into one thing.
No, you're right. Since I was born in '63, we have seen an awful lot since then.
Oh, the convention of the computer.
Correct.
And again,
no, you're right.
While it is shifting us to a point that makes us less social, you're going to see we have been right in the sweet spot, I think. Because there hasn't been, I mean, there have been wars, but not world wars. There have been conflicts, but there have been resolutions. There hasn't, I mean, there certainly is the advent of terrorism and different things, but what we have gotten to see is fascinating.
Gotten to see a lot.
We've been able to see quite a bit during this period of time. Anybody that's like 100 years old, I can't even imagine how their head is spinning as to what they've seen.
Well, they can't spin their head now.
But that's okay. Now you made mention of technology and what it's done, and this is something I'm going to tell you. I was sitting on the couch yesterday with Minnie Finn, believe it or not, sitting enjoying air conditioning and watching, I don't know what, Ghost Adventures or some shit. And we're talking, and I said, well, let's talk a little bit about school, because she's only weeks away from her freshman year in college. She has had, well, knock. We got an email today. It's still on, self-quarantining on the front side and the back side before light, all that. But she has known for easily 6 to 8 weeks. She's met a girl in their chat group that are going into the same school, into the engineering school, and they hit it off, same musical tastes, same kind of colored hair vibe and all that stuff. And they are going to be roommates. Okay. So that's going to be a whole different, because I went in cold. Right. And I'll tell you my roommate story. We'll have to do that another time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nightmare. But yesterday we were talking about this, and she has known this girl 6 to 8 weeks that she's going to be the roommate. And I said, so when you've talked to her, and I won't say her name because honestly I don't remember.
Well, you stop right there.
When you talk to her, what do you guys talk about? Do you talk about your music? Do you talk about things? I mean, because she's an only child, my daughter. She's never had to share really with a sibling. Right. She's never had conflict resolution training. Even with her own friends, she doesn't see them all that much, especially now. This is going to be a whole different culture shock for her. So when you guys talk, what do you talk about?
I can answer this for you.
How many times do you think they've talked to each other on the phone?
I'm going to say one, and I might be high.
None. Yeah. Not once. She has not talked to that girl. She's not heard her voice one time. I said, are you kidding me? Well, why would I? We talk on Snapchat. I go, no. You don't talk on Snapchat. Right. This is all this. There's no context. There's no intonation. There's no anything. Right. I said, you have got to talk to her. I said, you have to. You have got to talk. What if she talks like this? And what if she goes, what if that's her laugh? You gotta know this going in.
But my guess is that was met with resistance.
Rolling eyes and everything. What difference does it make? And I said, because ultimately you're gonna have to go in and talk to a professor. Ultimately, and she's done well with her teachers and everything else. Ultimately, you're gonna have to go to a job interview. Ultimately, you're gonna have to go into social situations, and you're not all gonna be standing around a circle, I hope, just doing this with each other. You've got to talk to her. She had no concept of that at all. And it blew me away. I couldn't believe it. I said, because you might talk to her and go, I hate this girl. And now you're stuck with her.
Yeah.
Not once. They haven't spoken on the phone one time. And I said, what do you think this is?
Right.
This isn't your camera that has the added feature of being able to talk to someone else. This is your phone.
Right. No,
I couldn't
see, and I guess, and again, that for me, that's what I don't like about today. I'm not going to tell anybody how they should live their life, but there are certain things that I just think you should do. You should want to do. Yeah. I don't know why you wouldn't want. And we can get into the roommate because I didn't go away to college. When I got out, I had 2 guys live with me, and I got some gems for those days.
Oh,
as you can only imagine.
I got some beauties. I took potluck, as they called it at the time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it was
Was pot luck the appropriate word? No,
it wasn't. It was not luck.
Oh,
I'll
right,
tell
I
you that
gotcha,
much.
okay.
I'll
save
tell-
that one.
Well,
That's
I'll
for
save that
another
one because
night, yeah.
the minute we walked into the room and it was bunk beds and he had already been there.
Did you know?
So he had already laid claim and he wasn't there.
Oh.
And I looked around the room and I just like, can I get a different roommate? And I hadn't even met him yet. I'm like, can I get a different roommate? They're like, nope. And I'll tell you how well my RA dealt with it over the course of the year.
Kind of like when they open up the stadium at the high school and somebody's there at 4 o'clock and lays out their blanket and then you don't see them for another 3 hours? No, that's not working for me.
No, thank you.
I'm with you.
No, thank you very much.
So let me ask you, back to your daughter, how do you break that? So you obviously were met with rolling eyes, etc. Do you anticipate her calling that girl?
Well, I think she was surprised that I called her out on it. And I don't know, when she's at her mom's house, I don't know what they talk about.
Right.
I honestly, I have no idea, clearly. But the fact that it never even occurred to her, and I thought I had raised her differently. Because I kept saying to her, I said, look, you can be as smart as you want up here.
Well,
if you can't get it out this way
but maybe
and do this.
But the fact that you raised her a certain way doesn't always necessarily lead to her carrying out what you've tried to instill. Because, I mean, you have to know this.
Oh,
look out.
Almost.
Because
this should be
look,
fun.
I know. Look ahead. Yeah, hang on. Okay, good.
Ah, nice.
Because I know plenty of people. You know, a lot of times, if a kid turns out not to be, if a kid turns out,
now
not
I can't
to,
drink it because it touched you.
Yeah, right. I'm good. If a kid turns out to be not what their parents had anticipated, a lot of times you'll hear people talk about, man, what kind of job did they do as parents? I'm here to tell you, man, I know plenty of people who have done a good job as parents. It's on the kid.
Yeah.
I mean, you can instill values, you can instill hard
Well-
work, you can instill all sorts of elements and variables and good characteristics and traits. That doesn't mean they're going to follow them.
Well, I can tell you this, and this is the sad news, and I know we sound, again, a little bit like, hey, you kids
No,
and
we
your
don't,
ball,
though,
but
but
I
I
would tell you this. We have the experience to know that. These are the things that I can tell you that aren't, you're not in trouble, you're not being judged, you're not
Right.
whatever. These are the
We're trying to help
experiences
you.
we're trying to help you, and don't roll your eyes and think that that's stupid, because when you get up there and you're just sitting and staring at each other, now what? Be prepared for that, especially like I said,
Yeah.
only child. Conflict resolution, never been an issue.
Right.
Sharing, never
You're
been
right.
an issue. Always getting what she wanted in certain places, that's an issue.
Well, the biggest one for me is when somebody goes, oh, I talked to so-and-so. I go, hang on,
Yeah.
Did you talk to them or did you text them or Snapchat or whatever? That's not talking.
No, it's not.
And that's why
talking.
so many people today can't speak.
Yeah.
That's why you're met with blank stares, and that's why people cry when they're given a test.
Yeah.
For God's sake,
here's
shut
the thing,
up.
Here's the thing that I would tell you that we and I've tried to share with her, and I'm sure if you're watching, you shared with your kids. Like it or not, the people that are going to be hiring you are still us.
Yeah.
So that's what we want. So if you're trying to figure out, well, what do they want? And if your parents come into an interview, if I'm in a position and your parents walk into an interview with me, I'm just going to tell you, get out, go away, go find a commune somewhere, piss off. You're not coming in, you know, there's the phrase helicopter parent, the ones that come into the interview and just hover to make sure that you're okay. Now the new one is lawnmower parent, where they're just running
They
in front of you with a
blaze the trail, they
lawnmower
cut it.
and cutting everything down so you don't have to run into any obstacle.
I know a
Nope.
guy who's a franchisee of a local restaurant chain, and he was looking for additional staff, and he said, I can't remember the exact number of applicants that he had, but it was double digits. And he said, I only found 2 that I could even bring in based on just looking at their qualifications and their experience on paper. Brought them both in, talked to them for like 5 minutes and said, see you later.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why when you see a lot of these places and you go now hiring or this and that, it is not easy to find competent people to work.
No, and I would tell you the other thing that I've found in different places that I've been recently, and that is, and this is not meant to be a full-scale indictment, but I would tell you that I've seen it more often than not. So maybe it's something of a trend, and that is someone that comes in, they show an area of expertise or an area of proficiency based on, and I'm gonna go ahead and straight up say it, social media. They can manage and they can run social media and they
I
can
know
do
where
this
you're
and that.
going.
And then and here's what happens. Okay,
Yep.
they come in, They demand respect instead of commanding respect, okay? They do one project that gets some attention, that gets a lot of likes or a lot of this or a lot of that, and then they think they should be vice president of the goddamn company.
Right.
It's like, what are you talking about? Are you serious? You did one thing right.
guy-
Way to go. Well, they don't respect me. They don't respect me. No, they don't respect you because they've been doing their job longer than you've been born.
Guy
so
worked for-
earn it.
Company that I worked for years ago, and he was the same way. And I said, Chief, you have to be an entry-level employee before you can be the CEO. I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not, you've got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, now let me ask him, I'm going to switch gears here on it, but we talked Reds a little earlier. Do I want to make the drive down to Hollywood Casino and place a futures wager on the Reds winning the National League?
Yes. I'll give you some money.
I think I might
Take
do
it.
it.
Take it.
I think I might do it.
I would say put 20 on Reds.
I mean, it'll be decent odds, I would think.
What is going on? What's,
I mean,
I think, you know what? Here. Just so we
Coin.
have video evidence, okay? I actually, Fred, I don't know if you've heard of these, but I have some coins. I have
do?
coins, and I'm going to give you some coins. And then there's this. I don't know if you remember these.
oh,
These-
that used to be a dollar
This
bill,
is cash
right?
money.
Cash money.
Okay, they don't accept this anywhere anymore because it might be covered in the C word, which would be disgusting. But this is for you. Take it down there.
I'm not touching
when
it.
you go
Could
to
have
place
this-
your bet.
oh.
Huh? No, yeah. The Eagle will take it.
That cheap
Take
ass,
my
he'll
money.
take it.
Take my money and put it on the Reds. All right. And I'm
20
not-
to win the NL, or you want World Series?
NL.
Okay.
We'll do NL.
That's
I'm not giving you
one
my
step at a time.
I'm not giving you my change. It's too valuable. Oops.
Look out.
Sorry, my Bob Ross mints fell on the ground.
Jesus. I mean, you might have a problem with this.
I
Bob
absolutely
Ross
have a
stuff.
problem. Okay, so
Yes.
we've talked about a handful of nonsense. There's something I want to get to Thursday. We may or may not have time now. Gamble and Finn, larger than life, here on the back 40 at House Gamble, the Oasis. It's lovely outside. It's actually a very nice night.
Yeah, it
Weather
feels good.
has been great. Sorry for the audio issues, but we'll get all this worked out.
Maybe.
Period. And we will work in August when we're not on LW because of the Reds to do a couple of these a week where we can get some special guests and some different
Yep.
things going on as well. So we invite you. That looked weird. It's on a delay, and I just saw that come up on the screen where I went down. I'm not doing that again. That will not be happening. I don't care. I don't give a shit if I drop my wallet.
By
I'm
the
not
way, there are
picking it up till after the show's over.
Bugs are starting to irritate
Yeah.
me
Well,
now, too.
you just got a real big smile on your face at the worst possible time. So that's not going to happen again. Anyway, so do we want to do? No, so this is the other thing.
Yes.
Well, you and I were just talking about this earlier in the week. I said, last week. All of this stuff that is being put in place. You know, we've been talking about from the political correctness and this and that, and everybody in every group is going to get this, and now you're going to get this, and you're going to get this, and we're going to equal the playing field and level this and do that, and we want special treatment, not equal treatment. What did I tell you? This stuff is being used, and this is going to sound really weird. It's being used to level the playing field against the scourge of the earth, which is the white male. Okay, I'm not bitching. I'm not saying we're oppressed. I'm just telling you what I think is going to happen, and it's already started. All of the things that are about to be put in place that either prescribe special treatment for a particular group or a different set of standards for a different group. The people that invented the loophole and finding ways to do that stuff are the people that it's being put in against. So, what's going to happen? All of those things are going to be used against the people who ended up being the beneficiaries of them at first, because that's how it works. To wit, what's the guy's name?
Jeremy Roenick.
Jeremy Roenick,
Former
the NHL guy.
Longtime NHL player, and accomplished one at that.
Yes, okay. So that guy is NBC
Sports,
analyst
well, he
for
was.
about 8 years.
Yep.
Let go and is
Yep.
now suing NBC, and because he said he was fired for being straight.
He essentially made some comments. He was on a Barstool Sports, one of their shows, and that's what wound up getting him the Kabuli.
Yes, but he had also said that, I guess it was Johnny Weir,
Yep.
who you may or may not know, but he and Tara Brzezinski, what's her name?
Brzezinski, I think.
Brzezinski, Tara
Lipinski.
Lipinski. Do
God,
a lot of the
why am I spouting out
do-
figure skaters?
Figure
names?
skating.
I
but
should be kicked.
The
in
bottom line is
leons.
apparently he was making some comments about a skater's body or body parts or whatever, and this guy, what's his last name? Roenick.
Jeremy Roenick.
Roenick said to his boss, Are we allowed to say stuff like that? Is that the kind of thing we can say? And this is according to him. His boss said, Johnny's gay, he can say whatever he wants.
Yep.
That is the beginning of the end. If this is where this is all going, you can't appoint enough judges, you can't get enough lawyers. This entire country will drown itself in paperwork. So, just keep an eye on this stuff. The transgender woman who is going to be in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue.
Who comes out tomorrow?
Gets out.
I got to get to the newsstand.
We'll have it in hand tomorrow, and the issue also. But the point is, wasn't that all about objectification of women? So let's figure this out now. Where's the logic? Where is the missing logic in that? I'm just telling you, it's starting to get a little bit weird. Not that everybody shouldn't have equal opportunity. Absolutely should have equal opportunity. But these things are going to start backfiring. So let's think it through ahead of time. Please, let's make it easier on all of us than just for a short period of time making it easier on some of us. We'll get into that further on Thursday. I'm sure I sound like a complete dick right now, but I think you get my point.
You want me to tell them what we got coming up Thursday
Yes,
night?
I do. Speaking
we
of
have
Thursday
4
night.
guests lined up, maybe a 5th added, and I think we'll get it done. But Jimmy Mooring, who's the proprietor of the Holy Grail Banks, he'll join us to talk about what the Grail has going on Friday, I should say, and then Friday night for opening day and night of Reds baseball. Dr. Michael Miller, who's the team physician at Ryle High School, also Thomas More College, he'll come on just to talk about some of the stuff going on with sports at schools as we get ready in the fall. Mike Dardis, anchor of News 5. He joins us in a customary slot, 10:20. Last call with sports director George Vogel at 11:50 in his customary position. And working to get either Phil Castellini or Karen Forgas from the Reds, because I think people want to know, too, about what's going on at GABP.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are no fans, but if you want to follow the Reds in the way, and they've done it, the Reds have been they had all their workouts online, etc. They made it very fan-friendly, like they always do, but hopefully Phil or Karen will join us as well. So we have lots of guests, and you know what that means? We don't have to do a whole hell of a lot. So that's our Thursday night.
Maybe that would be preferable. We'll get a
I
couple
will.
of,
I mean, after all, we only get, I better warn them, you only get about 5.5 minutes to talk should the governor decide to speak.
Yeah, if the governor decides to
Jeez.
speak, we get to
And say nothing.
We get to not speak. Come on, you're dancing awfully close to the C word.
My bad.
Knock
I
it off.
I didn't say a word.
All right, so time for
Yes.
show and tell, which, again, show and tell, our chance to show you something we've collected over the years that we think is cool, tell you a little bit about it. If you have something that you think is cool that you would like to show us and tell us a little backstory, email it to us, gambleandfin, gambleandfin @gmail.com. Send the picture, a little backstory. We'll throw it up on the screen, and we'll tell all about it and put you up there. If you want to send us a picture of yourself, we can be happy to do that as well. Do you want to go first?
Makes no difference. You tell me. If you want me to go, I'd be happy to go.
Oh, you go first, because I think I
All
went
right,
first
so I
last
don't
week.
have the actual objects, but I've got it on the screen, and golf is the theme. I figure I spent some of the last few days watching the Memorial Tournament at Muirfield Village Golf Club in Dublin, which is a suburb of Columbus. So I've got kind of the old school, medium school, and new school of golfer. I've got an autograph of Arnold Palmer,
Really?
and then an autograph of Tiger Woods, and then an autograph hat of J.B. Holmes, who is the you played at UK, kind of one of the modern day big hitters. John Rahm won yesterday.
Okay.
But I thought, talk about Arnie's Army, Tiger Woods, J.B. Holmes.
Oh, there'll
What?
be no photos.
Great, awesome. So okay, there you go.
There's photos.
So
There's photos now.
tell,
Being told.
tell them again. Yeah. What is it? You had Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer,
I'm a big fan of his drink, by the way.
Tiger
I
Woods.
like me the Arnold Palmer.
Yes, half tea, half
Lemonade.
lemonade. Tiger Woods.
Yes.
I got those both from Sports Investments. I bought them at a kind of as a part of a fundraiser. And then
Okay.
I got a golf hat signed by J.B. Holmes.
Cool.
Who played for
Oh,
at
here we
UK. Look at that. There
Yep.
you go.
Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, so mine is something that, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't know that much about this band, NoFX, NoFX. Okay.
I've heard of them. That's all I know.
Kind of an old school punk attitude
Okay.
band. But the reason that I have this is the person who won it back in the day never came to get it. It sat in a closet for 2.5 years. So we were clearing some stuff out. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. I had a couple guitars at home. I got a couple stands. So I said, I'll take that home with me. I don't know that much. They signed 2 guitars, one to give away at the station and one to give away at the Bogart show. So I took it home, and it was sitting on a stand, and someone came over to my house and they said, "Is that NoFX?" I go, "I guess. Yeah." And they said, "Is that autographed?" And I said, "Yeah." "You got to be kidding me." I said, "Well, no, look, I mean, it's," and what's funny is, and I guess I should have known, I looked down and you'll see on the photo, the band autographed it, and I guess it's the lead singer, Fat Mike. It says, "Fat Mike hates radio." And they hate radio. They think radio ruined music, so on and so forth. So he signed it, "Fat Mike hates radio." And the reason that this is such a big deal is they don't sign autographs. They hate radio. They won't do radio appearances. They won't do any of that stuff. So the fact that I have this guitar signed by the band,
yes,
and I know they signed it, and says "Fat Mike hates radio." There's a single shot of it, and then there's a close-up shot. You may or may not be able to see the signature, but I didn't realize that this was such a big deal. But yeah, "Fat Mike hates radio," and it says NoFX, or NoFX.
Interesting.
And I just thought, okay, well, this is a little thing that I didn't even know that I had that was a cool nugget, and it just sits in my house, which is cool. I love having it. Now, if I found somebody who was a consummate NoFX fan, it would be a great gift.
Right.
Because the only thing it means to me right now is I have something that's very hard to come by. But would I ever sell that? Probably not, because, well, we'll see how it goes here in a couple of months. But we'll see, find out just how cool it is.
Yeah.
There may be a reverse show and tell one day where I go, here's all the shit money I got from the NoFX guitar. But I just thought it was kind of cool because I didn't even know. It's one of those things I didn't even know what
I've
I had.
heard of them. I don't know. I couldn't, define. I know last night on Access TV they did a kind of a rock legends on U.S. Punk. Went through the Dead Kennedys, Ramones, all that kind of. Which I enjoy those kind of rockumentaries, if you will, for lack of a better way to say it. Like that stuff.
No, it's good stuff.
Now next Monday I'll bring out some Red stuff in honor of opening day and the weekend.
You can say it. It doesn't.
We're gonna
matter.
play the clip.
You're gonna play the clip.
Yep.
Play what clip?
The show and tell clip.
The show clip. Hang on for a second. Because when we talk about show and tell, this is what we're talking about.
As you can tell, we don't rehearse.
And we're back.
Maybe we should rehearse.
I feel bad. I feel like we should play it again because we totally effed it up.
You know what?
Do it again?
Play it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. All right, here we go. You ready for show and tell? We are. We have so many amazing production pieces, we don't even know what they are.
And I'll tell you what I'm ready for.
Yes.
This shit to be over.
I'm ready to go home and wash my pants because honestly,
I'm ready for you to go home and wash your pants.
I can smell them from here. I smell like wet dog.
Downwind,
and it has nothing to do with my dog.
Downwind has been bad.
That is not good. All right, I'm going to take my bat wings. I'm going to head home. I'm going to wash these pants. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We're not exactly sure what's going on, but you know what? It's kind of fun that way.
Yeah, don't worry. We can make another call to the internet provider and listen to their bullshit another week, right?
All right. Thursday night, 9 midnight, 700 WLW. It is the reality check. We will get into a lot more serious stuff. We just like to goof around here on Monday nights. But again, in August, don't forget, we're going to double up, I think, on Larger Than Lives with some special guests. It should be a lot of fun.
I have to talk to our production team about that first, though.
If they haven't all thrown all their stuff in the lake and taken off. Now, if there's something that you like, please share, and also subscribe to us on the YouTube channel. We have our own custom URL, you know. So I'm going to go wash my pants.
Hey, you learn something new every night, don't you, Fred?
You do whatever you need to do, and we'll do it again next Monday. This is the end of season 1. No, it's not. It's episode 12. We don't know how long this season is. I think the network just ordered 60 more episodes in season 1.
I think it did.
So there you go. We may perpetually be in season 1. He's Gamble. I'm Finn. This has been Larger Than Live from House Gamble, the Oasis, and the Zoo after we got him out from behind the protective glass. Have a great night. Thanks for checking us out. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. We're going to go see what we can figure out could go wrong next week in advance. All right? We'll see you Thursday night, 9 to midnight on 700 WLW.